No, right.
And our parliament applauding his claim that Kargil was a triumph of American diplomacy.
Okay. I think you made your point.
They were clapping and applauding the US president who made this claim in our own
Mr.
parliament.
Sharma, let's stay on topic. I think you made your point that they were within the bounds of propriety. Mr. Mittal, I'm coming to you, sir. I want to get your reaction. Before I get your reaction, because this is a half-an-hour debate today, gentlemen, so I'll have to interrupt you. Mr. Mittal, I'm coming to you in just a bit. Ajay Alok, let me ask you this first. They wanted, let's see, for example, they wanted to let the government know that Mr. Modi is seen in a particular manner by some sections of society. Agreed. Let's give them that, these MPs. But then shouldn't they have written this letter as human rights activists? Why use the parliamentary umbrella and degrade our parliamentary system? Why couldn't they have given their opinions as human rights activists? Because that's what they seem to be saying in the letter. Why use the parliamentary umbrella?
Now, let me come to the first part of the question. The very first basis, what I would like to quote here is that here is a person who is a president of the primary opposition party who are claiming to form the next government. And they go to the United States and they start pleading that please give visa because this person is going to be the next prime minister of this country. Now, what does this mean? Were they in right to do that?
No.
Don't they know what is the
fact that Rajnath Singh, what he did, was also under criticism. I get that, sir. Sir, I get the fact that we explore the Rajnath angle. I'll ask Mr. Mittal that. But on these 65 MPs, or perpetually they sent 65 MPs, do you think using the parliamentary umbrella and saying that this is what the country represents, do you think that was right and proper?
No. What I think of the 65 MPs, I guess more than 30 denials have already come in. But there is one single independent MP who is claiming that yes, we have wrote this letter and all the letters were duly signed. Now in this also, when the denials are clear and when the acceptance is clear, where the matter of conspiracy arises, which BJP always starts shouting that there is a conspiracy. I don't see any conspiracy, but using the parliamentary forum in this kind of a thing is absolutely not what is required for.
Okay, that's the answer I was looking for. It is not proper to use. Mr. Mittal, let me come to you. We know your party's reaction to it. I don't want the party reaction from you, sir. What I want is a rebuttal. What Mr. Sharma just said. He said if these MPs were wrong, then so was Rajnath Singh going and saying that, oh, I will implore US lawmakers to reconsider their policy on Narendra Modi.
First, let me reply to Mr. Vinod Sharma's proposition. In this country, you have a man arrested because he used the letterhead of Mr. Ajay Makhan to ask for a railway reservation or something of that kind. He's arrested for forgery, fraud and all kind of things. Here, the signatures of 30 prominent members of parliament are forged, and that too to be sent in a representation to the President of the United States of America. And no criminal case has yet been lodged, no arrest has yet been made, no urgency has been shown by the government to book the culprit under various sections of the IPC. This is highly deplorable. If such kind of forgeries and frauds are to be committed in the names of members of parliament to influence a foreign government, I think there should be a sense of urgency in the government to tackle this situation.
Okay, point taken, fair enough.
First thing. First. That's why I'm saying, you see, the conduct of the government and the so-called members of parliament who have actually agreed that they have signed this must be debated in its sincerity.
Fair enough, sir.
Now,
but fair enough. I get your point. You have a completely valid point, sir. I am with you on that. If there is a case of forgery, action should be taken, and it should be taken immediately.
No,
but on the issue of the counter charge, sir.
Yeah.
On the issue of the counter charge, why is Rajnath Singh going to the US and saying? Why is Rajnath Singh going to the US and saying, I will implore US lawmakers to reconsider their policy on Narendra Modi? Does he not understand how diplomatic relations work?
See, a member parliament, as a member parliament, asking President of the United States that please do not give visa to a democratically elected chief minister of a state of the country, I think that is very, very grave. a party president going and saying the lawmakers are doing something wrong. They are unfair in denying a visa which should have been given, and I would ask them to think that this wrong should be corrected. I mean, is this wrong or what I am saying is wrong?
Okay, so basically you don't equate the two. Okay.
Allow me. I am not equating the two. B, on its principality. What has Mr. Rajnath Singh said? He says your action is wrong. And that is why I am asking you to reconsider it.
Okay.
He is not going and saying anything else.
Mr. Mittal, one second, sir. Mr. Fabian, before I come to Mr. Sharma or Mr. Ajay Alok, let me talk to you about this. If there are serious charges of forgery against some people here, they are saying they forged signatures of members of parliament to get a letter to the White House. Now, if it is proven that there were indeed forgeries on that letter, do you think there should be some sort of punishment for these MPs? There's nothing written there, but how do you think the government should respond to this, or the parliament for that matter?
Well, let me put it this way. I think there is much confusion in this matter. The United States Department of State decided to deny visa to Chief Minister Modi some time back.
Right.
And it is a decision of the United States government, and we all have to behave with dignity. And it was certainly inappropriate on the part of any legislator in India to write directly to the United States government asking them not to revise, to review their decision or not to review. So I don't want to get into that. Now, as regards the question of perjury, well, if somebody has forged somebody else's signature, the person whose signature has been forged can take action. I don't know whether government of India can take action. That is a legal matter, but I don't think it.
Highly mistaken in terms of your knowledge of law. And such a senior person giving such kind of an answer shocks me completely. In criminal law, the government is well empowered to take action in any matter which has criminal implications.
Okay.
It does not require a man to make a complaint that his signatures have been forged. So do not, on a national television, give this kind of a statement. It defies my sensibility.
Okay. What you're saying is the government can and should take action. I take your point, sir. Let me put the question to other panelists also. Mr. Mittal, Mr. Sharma, you wanted to comment very briefly. We don't have much time today.
No, I know we don't have much time, but Sudhanshu is saying certain things which require a lot of time to rebut. But nevertheless, what I am saying is that when there is a forgery of signatures and not 1 and 2 or 3, surely the matter has to be investigated. But at least one of those whose signatures have been forged, I am not saying this happened, but n number of times petitions are signed without thorough reading by members of parliament. I'm sorry to say they have a very short attention span.
Right.
And I've seen this happening. I have seen this happening and being done. Sudhanshu, once you'll come to parliament, you'll be in Sentinel Hall, you'll see it yourself. You know, the people just, I have seen industrialists.
You also know
sir,
the truth.
I have seen industrialists.
You also know the truth. So
no,
let's
it's not that.
Mr. Mittal,
The gravity of the matter.
Okay, you want the government.
The gravity of the matter requires a different response.
Sir,
let him finish.
Sir, if that has to be happen, you and I as independent citizens of this country who elect these members of parliament can go and lodge a private report with a court of law and a FIR would be registered. What is the big deal?
Sir,
you want the government to take action.
The government of India has a responsibility.
We'll come to action in just a bit.
The responsibility first lies with MPs. First lies with MPs whose signatures have been forged. The first responsibility lies with them.
Mr. Sharma,
if
Mr.
their
Mittal,
signatures
please.
have been forged, the lawmakers should have the conscience to get up and lodge an FIR.
Ajay Alok,
they make the law.
Ajay Alok, this is the letter in my hand right now. Mr. Mittal, I'll come to you, please.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree that any member of parliament who feels that his signatures were forged, he's free to go and lodge a complaint with the police.
Okay.
In fact,
Fair enough. Mr. Alok, I have another question for you.
Ajay Alok, to the US. Was he not a member of parliament?
Okay.
Was he not a member of parliament?
Ajay Alok, I have a question for you.
He is not in his capacity.
No,
as a
Mr.
member
Mittal,
of
one second,
parliament.
please.
He
Mr.
is in
Mittal, one
the
second,
US
please.
in the capacity of being the president of BJP.
Ajay Alok, I have a question for you. This is the letter.
But he's also
we've
a
got
member
the
of
copy of
parliament and
it.
he has been a former union minister also. So he knows
No,
the
one
protocol
second,
of
sir.
the
One
government.
second. Let me get back to the text of the letter. This is the letter in my hand. I'll read out 2 lines to you, to all the panelists. I want your reaction on this. They say, we urge you to maintain the current policy of denying Mr. Modi, and it goes on. Then it says, if you legitimize Mr. Modi's human rights violations and seriously impact the nature of US-India relations, sending a message that US values economic interests over the universal value of human rights and justice. Now, these are MPs. They might have prejudices. They're also human beings. I understand that. It's a complicated country. Mr. Ajay Alok, even if they felt a certain way, how can they state that if you give Modi a visa, it will impact India-US relationships? They're not the government. They're just members of parliament, and they don't speak for everyone in parliament or even outside the country. Don't you think that was something whoever started this letter made a mistake there and should be reprimanded for it?
See, there's no doubt about it. This is highly unparliamentary of this member of parliament to do so, to write a letter to the United States government directly. But don't forget the fact that what Mr. Modi represents in the country is a crony of capitalism. So I guess that was very much imperative for Mr. Rajnath Singh, as a member of parliament and a former union cabinet minister, to go in US and ask for a visa pleading for that, because what he represents, and he wanted a nod from United States, and that has led to the shambles to this country.
Okay, Prahlad Kakkar, Modi has been given a visa by Japan, he's visited China, he's gone to Russia as well. My question is, it's not like other countries have shunted Mr. Modi out. Despite the black stain of the Gujarat 2002 riots, or some people have an opinion about Mr. Modi, the fact remains, does only a US visa grant him global accommodation or global credibility? I'm sure Mr. Modi does not really need that.
And the party said it earlier.
Why?
Of course, he doesn't need it.
Why this big hullabaloo over the US
It
visa?
will make no difference, because we don't understand that, because we think that it's, for everybody to get a green card and a US visa is a big deal. For Mr. Modi, it is not. If Mr. Modi does not go to America, America will come to Mr. Modi. So it makes no difference to him. Okay? But this is a conspiracy, and it's really about disinformation. And I think it's really shameful that the parliamentary letterhead was used here. If anybody in their private capacity felt in a particular way and wrote a letter to Obama, by all means do so, because finally the prerogative is theirs. But using parliamentary letterhead and trying to legitimize this particular grievance with 60 people, half of whom were forged, I think smacks of conspiracy.
Okay, desperation, Mr. Kakkar, seems to be on both sides. No matter how much the MPs defend themselves or the BJP defends themselves, the fact remains this: Mr. Rajnath Singh is also in the US making noises about how he would implore US lawmakers to revisit their Modi visa policy. I mean, both sides. Why is the US so important, or US approval so important? Why are our politicians going across the Pacific and showing how Indian politicians cannot manage their affairs internally?
I don't think Mr. Rajnath Singh should have said anything. He should have maintained a certain dignity. He should have kept quiet, and he should have done exactly what Mr. Modi does. Then he doesn't need representation in the US for himself.
Okay.
It's up to the US government to decide whether they want to give him a visa or not.
Okay. Very quick question, Mr. Vinod Sharma, very quickly. Mr. Mittal, I'm coming to you. I'll give you the last word, I promise you. One second, sir. One quick question. If the whole human rights angle as well, they've written in the letter saying, I mean, they've said a lot of things, but they're saying that, the human rights record of Mr. Modi is not that great. Justice hasn't been served to the US.
The crux of the
Do they not have the faith in the Indian justice system? Why are they asking for...
The crux of the argument is that because human rights is a universal issue, we have written to the president. I think that they have crossed the limit in writing to the president. I think, in writing to the president, they certainly crossed the limit.
I think that's a joke.
Yes, go on.
You didn't get me right, Mr. Kakkar. I said they have certainly crossed the limit in writing to the president. They have certainly crossed the limit in writing to the president, the members of parliament, directly. And I think Mr. Rajnath Singh too has crossed the limit by landing on the shores of the United States and started making noises about Mr. Modi's visa. Mind you, Mr. Modi hosted members of the Senate, members of the Congress from the United States, and there was a big show of how these people are going to go and lobby for him to get a visa of the United States. Let us not forget that.
Okay.
Let us also not forget that Mr. Rajnath Singh's trip has been organized by the same people who organized the trip of those US congressmen to Gujarat some months back.
Mr. Fabian,
so there is an urge on the part of Mr. Modi to get accepted by the biggest democracy in the world. It's a superpower. They would like to be accepted by
Mr. Mittal, I'll come to you for a rebuttal, but very quick comment before Mr. Fabian. My question is simple, really, sir. Don't you think that the fact that they wrote directly to the US president, if they were so concerned about justice not being served, first of all, do they not have faith in their own judicial system? Another thing, giving a passport is India's prerogative in this case. Giving a visa has nothing to do with India. Did they forget that?
I think it was most inappropriate on their part to have written to the United States government. And it is for the United States government to give a visa or not. And I don't think we have come out in a good way in all these episodes.
So basically, degradation of our parliamentary system is some people are saying. Mr. Mittal, go for a rebuttal. I don't have much time, but go for it quickly, sir.
Two things first. That Mr. Rajnath Singh has gone for a conference relating to Indo-US relationship, and in the context of the Indo-US relationship and how exciting is India in terms of investment environment, these are comments which have been made in that context, that these are the impediments to the relationship as we see it, because you are wronging us. That's one side of the story. Second, the physiology that it is inappropriate, I think, is rather mild. I think it's grotesque. What has been sought to be done is to undermine and denigrate the Indian judicial system, which till date has not even raised a pointing finger at Mr. Narendra Modi. The sensationalization of the issue beyond India and at an international fora to denigrate the duly elected Chief Minister of the state of Gujarat, I think is very, very shameful.
Okay, Ajay Alok.
Lastly, the comparison of the two situations, that this is also wrong and this is also wrong, speaks of a predetermined mindset.
There is no
which is not expected to be
one second. Mr. Mittal,
number one.
Ajay Alok. Yes, we have to wrap up now. Last comments to Ajay Alok.
By asking visa from United States. Yeah, by asking visa from United States for a chief minister who has been denied.
You have not even heard what he said.
In the past,
he said you are wrong in denying it.
Okay, let him finish, Mr. Mittal.
He has said you are wrong in denying it.
Let him finish, please.
That is the reason why there is an impediment.
Ajay Alok, go ahead.
Visa to Mr. Modi? That was entirely shameful act on the part of Rajnath Singh. It shouldn't have been done.
Gandhi take a visa from the United States?
Done.
Tell me, if it is so wrong, why does Mr. Rahul Gandhi
Okay, gentlemen, we are nearing the end of the debate. I have only one last question, sir. Ajay Alok, I have only one last question. How come the MPs did not think of a motion? They could have planned a motion in Parliament if they have such a problem with Mr. Modi and what he's done or didn't do in 2002. Why not ask for a revocation of a passport, something that India is actually concerned with, in Parliament? Why not move a resolution in Parliament?
Number one, I'm not here justifying those MPs who have written to US President about not issuing a visa to Modi. I'm not justifying that. That's a completely unparliamentary act, uncalled for, that shouldn't have been done.
Thank you.
I'm not justifying that. So I'm telling you, please don't confuse the two issues. Those two issues are completely different.
Okay, Mr. Ajay Alok, we'll take your word for it. The two issues are different, I understand, but I think the consensus on the panel, we have to end this debate now. The consensus tonight on the panel is one last brief word.
Indeed, Mr. Modi has not been indicted or held guilty by any court of law, but he has also not been given a clean chit by any court of law. It is an SIT clean chit which is being debated under a protest petition in a court in Gujarat. So let us not confuse the viewers.
No, the viewers are not confused, Mr. Mittal, Mr. Sharma. I'm pretty sure the viewers are very smart and understand what's going behind these political games that we see every day. What I want to say is I think the panel is in consensus when the panel says that it was highly improper of them to have used the parliamentary umbrella to go directly to the White House. Perhaps they could have tried a different path, a different tack. For the time being, this controversy will keep raging on, but we have no time tonight because we have to end the debate. I must thank all my guests who joined me for the NewsX debate tonight. Sudhanshu Mittal, many thanks. Dr. Ajay Alok, Prahlad Kakkar, KB Fabian and Vinod Sharma, many thanks for joining us on the NewsX debate. I'm Athar Khan. Good night.